Hello all. Today I just thought it might be helpful. I was just thinking the other day that pointing out a few things in for a post range visit maintenance checklist, not necessarily cleaning the gun, but just things to look for on a regular basis for wear and tear and things I've noticed after putting quite a few rounds through these. And it's pretty consistent on all the guns. Anyway, and they wear different, depending on the gun. I guess the tolerances and so forth. But just wanted to point out a few things that if you're not really used to using these or putting a lot of rounds through them, things to look at just to keep them healthy, so to speak. Okay. Anyway. We'll go ahead and tear this down first, and this won't take long. Just a few things. This is clean now, but when you go to the range, here's a few things that would probably behoove you to check. So let's tear this down. Press the tear down button. Flip the switch. Gradually pull this out. Okay. Guess we'll pull the whole thing. There's a couple ways. I mean, if you didn't want it to fall apart, you could hold the gun upside down. Okay, so we'll pull that. Again, the gun's fairly clean. It's not super clean, but this is as far as you tear down normally for after range cleaning. And that's really not what I'm going through here. What I'd like to do here is I just kind of wanted to go through a few things, a checklist, basically. After owning many of these and shooting a lot of rounds through them, I noticed a few wear points and a few things that it's just good to keep an eye on. So I thought it might be helpful. Okay, so the barrel wise, we'll just start with the barrel. Not much to inspect, quote unquote inspect. The only thing you want to look at on these, after cleaning it and such, is the little access. Here, let's use this. This little access screw here, as you see right there. Okay, what that is that's just a plug. It's just a screw that they plug in to keep the dust out of that hole. That hole, that's the access hole that's used to drill when they make the barrel, to drill the gas port, and then it comes through the bottom of this. But that's just the access hole. It's welded right about here, so the gas goes down and out, and this is just a plug to where the machinery was used. So, point being, there's no pressure in there, okay? But I've noticed on one of mine, and I've heard on some others from the factory, that sometimes these will back out. Not a big deal, because the bolt material is, it's a lot harder than that material, so you'll see the scrape. But what it'll do if this starts backing out is it's gonna cause the bolt to have friction when it goes back in, and you could get some failure feeds, stuff like that, because it'll have drag. Just something to check. Otherwise, the barrel is not much to check. The next thing is the piston. The piston here, which goes in here, right? The piston, the thing you want to look at, just check for wear. You're going to have wear. As you can see, they come new black, but you're going to eventually get wear after a while. It's not a big deal. It's totally normal. You just don't want to see any gouges on this thing. Wear is good, gouges are not good. Okay, so then this goes in that hole here. This is the most important thing, which I'm going to mention here, that you really should look at and inspect closely. This is the return spring assembly. Okay, it's like $65, I think, something like that. You can buy just the return spring here and change it for, I don't know, $10, $15 maybe. But I normally order the whole thing as a replacement, because what I noticed is this piece here, it gets a little worn, as you can see right in there, okay, right in here. And I noticed that on all my Desert Eagles. Not a lot, but after enough rounds, it gets kind of beat up. And that's the part that goes right in this point here. And it takes a lot of abuse, really. So that's why I say when you check these, check this. This is a really hard metal, so you're not going to probably see anything there. But this is somewhat softer, and you're going to see this thing kind of wearing. That's normal wear and tear, but if you shoot a lot of rounds through them, you know, it could get to a point where it could fail. That's probably the most important thing. While we're on the slide, not much to inspect, really. Take a look at the bolt. The bolt's going to see some wearing here, maybe a little shiny. Just look for the obvious thing. Bolts don't really wear out. This extractor, I don't know, that might get a little worn, but I've never seen a worn extractor. The thing that wears out, you can't see it. It's the rubber piece that they call a spring, but all it is a little rubber ball shaped thing. And you have to pull the bolt apart. That's the thing that puts the little tension on the extractor. Okay? Not a big deal. You don't want to look at that every single time you tear down the gun. But I am mentioning that. Okay, so that's kind of all that. The other thing is any wear and tear on the frame. You're going to see some wear here, a little, not a lot, maybe on the end, here, on the sides. That's why this is one of the places you oil. Not heavy, but you do want to oil that. Okay, just obvious thing on the frame, really, and that's kind of it. When you tear them down, this is really all the things you want to check, and this is not talking about the normal clean the barrel, clean this, because this is caked with crud, as anybody who owns one of these things knows. You know, that goes without saying. I'm not even going to get into how to clean one of these things, you know, how much you got to clean or spray or whatever. Today I just wanted to go over some of the things that you want to inspect, like this and that, and, you know, some of the key things. And last but not least, how much oil do you use? I've read some things where they say to douse it in oil. Do not douse it in oil. There's nowhere that says you have to douse it in oil. So you just want to oil anything that's here, just lightly, the edges here, just a coating. This thing here is probably about the oiliest I'll do. But it's, as you notice, because that falls in here, just by the way it's designed, after a few shots, this thing is caked in, it's completely blown clean and covered with carbon. So I'm not so sure how good oiling that does, but I do it anyway. As far as grease, while I'm here, as far as gun grease, the only place that you want to use grease is when you have this thing torn down and any kind of spring assembly in here. Like when I swapped all the parts here, I bought the kit and the gold appointment kit. Anything that has a spring, you wanna grease it lightly. Same thing here too. After you blast it clean with degreaser, you want to put a little bit of grease on it. That's not an oil part. That's, like I said, any spring would be a grease part. And that's it. That's the key things to look at. So just for laughs, we'll throw this together. Piston goes in there. And this goes right in here. Here's how I do it. Just hold down with my finger. Put these in the approximate area. Flip this upside down. Slide it in. Come on. Okay. That's probably the hardest part. Make sure these springs here go in the little sockets. Okay. Hold it up like this so it doesn't fall out. Okay. There's that. Like I said, this has a little bit of oil. That has a little bit of grease. Everything is clean. oil on anything that slides. You can see right here, a little bit of oil on that whole rail, but not a lot. Take there, done. Okay, and that's it. So that's really the whole point of this public service announcement. Was those are the key things you should check on a regular basis. Whenever you go to the range, whenever you tear this down, it takes 2 seconds. Just take a look. I noticed that a couple times that spring on one of my other ones that had a lot of miles on it, it was getting a little too chewed up. So I just bought the spring replacement. Fresh springs, fresh end piece. It's kind of pricey. It's like $65, but at least you get a fresh end piece and a fresh brand new spring. And you keep the other one as a spare, as a backup, just to have. And that's it. Hopefully this gave you a few pointers to help your longevity of your beautiful machinery here. Thanks.